Hi, in this short film I want to share with you a really useful tool for better managing stress. Now, stress is everywhere. Everyone experiences what we might call stress. It's an overused term, and we sort of think that it'd be great if I didn't have any stress, but that's not the case actually. There's good stress, which is often called eustress, or technically called eustress, and then there's distress, which is bad stress. So we always have some level of stress in our lives, and we actually need that to function. That's not the point. The point is how to prevent acceptable, normal, tolerable levels of stress, the stress that gives us an edge and pushes us forward, how to prevent that from turning into distress. So one of the really nice tools that I use in clinical practice is this one that I'm going to show you. But first of all, let's just define stress a little bit more. In essence, stress is a bit like threat. You're stressed because you have to do things, or you don't have enough time, you don't really have the resources or the wherewithal to do what you feel that you need to do. And this is a threatening situation. Now, the reason that distress is such a problem, or one of the reasons that distress is such a problem, is that as you become more and more distressed, your field of attention narrows. So where in normal circumstances you'd be well aware of what's going on in the environment. If you're driving, for instance, you'd be aware of what's around about you in terms of traffic and pedestrians, etc. But imagine if you're driving and you are only focused on the road ahead and you didn't see what was happening around about you, almost as if you had blinders or blinkers on. That would not be a good way to drive. So as you become more threatened, i.e. as you become more distressed, your field of attention narrows and it becomes more focused, and thereby you miss seeing other things which are potentially important, and this contributes to your feeling of being out of control or inadequately able to control the things that you somehow feel you need to control. Now, let me take it to a really extreme example just to illustrate the point. There's lots of evidence from kind of national disasters, if you like, things like big fires and shipwrecks, and other kinds of things like that, where it's clear that people become so focused on the thing that they need to do that they miss something else which would be useful. So in a fire, for instance, you're so focused on getting out of a particular door because that's the thing that you need to do to survive, but the door's locked, but you just keep trying to get out the door, but the door's locked. But because you're so focused on that element, that task, you fail to explore and realize that the door next door actually is not locked, and that you could escape through that door. So many people often die unnecessarily because they're focused, they're wedded, they're tied to a particular strategy which they think is useful, but they're not able to try something else when that doesn't work. They kind of get stuck with it. It's like a functional fixedness. That's a really extreme level of distress, and we don't want to get there, but it illustrates the problem when your attention narrows. So let's start out like this. The first thing I'd like to do is just to establish a stress level that's to 10 for you. Now, put 5 about there. The question is this: what would be an acceptable level of stress for me? So what would be within my normal, and I'm going to call it within my green range, because I'm going to use traffic lights as the kind of heuristic for this. So I'm going to suggest that for me, something up to about 4 would be the normal range. So if it's in the green, if it's up to 4, I'm just fine. I'm happy with that. After green, of course, comes amber. Now, amber is the danger period. That's when you feel like you're doing too much. You're starting to feel overwhelmed. You're starting to feel like you're losing some control. You're starting to feel like you've got too much stress. It's going to be a bit of overlap, but I'm going to say sort of something like that. So my stress level might go up to, say, 6. My amber, my, this is uncomfortable, I don't really like this, this has got to change. Thereafter, my stress level would be in the red, up to 10. So we have 3 basic boxes. Stress level 0, absolutely none, I'm probably fast asleep. Stress level 10, that's as bad as it could possibly be. Now, when I'm 0 to 4, that's absolutely fine. I'm functioning within my normal capacity. My attention is able to be varied. It's a bit like I'm driving and I'm aware of everything that's going on around me. Between sort of 3 3/4 up to about 6, my attention's starting to narrow and I'm starting to feel a little bit threatened. I'm starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed. I'm starting to feel like I'm losing control. As if, for instance, you have a bit of a fright when you're driving and you become really focused on making sure that you don't make any mistakes. That will be kind of a narrowing of attention. From about 6 up to 10, it's as if you're only focused on the road and you don't have any awareness of any pedestrians, any awareness of any other traffic. You're not keeping an eye on what's coming up behind you or any junctions. So you really feel, I've just got to get home, and if I get home I'll be lucky and I'll never drive again. That kind of desperate hanging on level of stress. Now, I've made a sheet for you with all of this on, by the way, which you'll be able to download. You'll find the download instructions below this film. But we're going to rate our stress level on a 0 to 10 scale, and then I'll show you what we're going to do with it. Here you can see that I have just created a segment of the downloadable stress sheet, which I've prepared for you. I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would carry it on to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So basically I've got the whole week mapped here, and I have the place for the date here, but AM, PM, AM, PM. So in essence, twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon or the evening, you can ask yourself this question: how stressed do I feel? How stressed am I? And you can rate yourself on the 0 to 10 scale. So you might say, how stressed am I? I am a 3. Well, if I was a 3, I would go there. Lovely. In the afternoon, how stressed am I? Oh, that's not so good. I might be an amber. Now, if I'm an amber, the amber signal is preparation for change. It's telling you that something's about to happen. And the amber, therefore, needs to be your signal to make some changes. If you find yourself in an amber situation or in a red situation, this tells you that already your attention will have started to narrow. Already you'll be losing some awareness that the effect of the stress is having upon you, and already you'll be starting to experience and move into distress. So you now have to do something about that. The whole purpose of this sheet is to make you aware of your stress level at a particular time. Here, if my stress level is at amber, then I need to do something about it. Of course, I don't have to do anything about it, in which case it won't change. But I need to do something about it if I want to move out of the de-stress zone into... Once I've recognized that I'm in the amber or even the red zone, heaven forbid, then I need to do something about it. And so you'll find that there's a place at the bottom of the sheet where you can put in your own do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts. Now, a do is something that I know will take me out of the stressed amber, the distressed zone, and it will take me back into green. So it's like a pre-prepared action plan to de-stress me. So I've written down here things like take a bath, go for a walk or have a run, watch a DVD. But it could be anything. It could be cook a meal. It could be play with the kids. It could be anything that you know that will take you out of the amber zone and back into the green. And there's a place for you to put your own in there. Now it's important that you write them in, because when your attention narrows, you lose access to the things that are helpful to you because you're focused on the task, and the task isn't necessarily what's helpful. I've got some don'ts here. Don't take more on. Don't be down on myself, because of course amber and then red feels as if there are threatening things approaching me, and one strategy that people often use is to do more, try more, work harder, try and achieve more to push the threat away. But actually that just makes things worse. So don't take more on. Don't travel by car, don't go by train, don't fly, don't do a lot of things, don't do complicated things. Whatever it is for you that you know will make you more stressed, write that in the don'ts. So here we have a mini action plan. Do and don't. Now, as you look at your chart and you fill it in every day, you'll start to see a pattern, and you'll recognize that some days cause you to move up towards amber, and some days bring you back towards green. The secret of managing stress is to spend as much time as possible in the green, out of distress and in eustress, normal stress. Therefore, when you find yourself going into the amber, do some do's and bring yourself back into the green. This will prevent your attention from narrowing, and it will prevent the amber from moving into red. And once you're in red, and if you're in red, a fair bit, it becomes quite difficult, really quite difficult, to move back to green very easily. So amber is the warning, the danger, that you need to do something to bring yourself back into green. You'll find the download sheet, the instructions for the download sheet below this film. This is a useful tool, and I hope you give it an opportunity, use it in your life and see how it works. Let me know how you get on with it. Thanks for taking the time to watch and listen to this short film about how to manage stress.